Yep, that's a packed room. I'm just waiting for the timer to be ready. And so my name is Cédric Giorgi. I'm French, even if the name might sound like Italian. Actually, I'm from Corsica. Don't know if you know the place. I joined a company called SIGFOX, French startup, kind of a big late-stage scale-up, as we try to call it. I'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm an ex-entrepreneur, and basically I have the best role in the world now. I'm trying to help other entrepreneurs who want to turn IoT entrepreneurs and join this wonderful adventure that is the Internet of Things. My presentation will be why now is a good time, and why I'd like to invite you all to consider joining the movement and consider building a new IoT device, solution, or whatsoever related to this buzzword, Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is plenty of things. It might be, like big things like car or watch or like intelligent objects. But a lot of people forget that it's all about small things as well and sensors, and we'll focus a little bit on this. Some people might call it connected objects, and then it's all about consumer. And I like Cisco definition talking about the Internet of Everything, where it's IoE. Of course, Cisco wants to have its own brand name on new concepts, but still it's interesting to consider that it's about everything being connected around us. It's definitely hype. When you look at hype cycle from Gartner, it's at the peak of expectation, which means also peak of buzz, and a lot of people will be disappointed because at some point we'll go through the yeah, you got it. Disillusionment, okay, thank you, Colette, as always, very helpful. And in fact, if you look at it, plenty of subcategories of Internet of Things are also part of the hype cycle. It might be wearable, it might be about smart robots, plenty of subcategories out here. If you want some numbers, we do have some statistics. They have no clue, like 19 trillion opportunity. Of course, it will be an opportunity, but how are they able to define the number that will be? We have no clue, but the reality is it's a movement. It's not just a buzz. We're going there. If I like to compare the 2 decades, 2005, for those of you that were working in the web industry, it's where Web 2.0 started. Actually, it's been a long time I hadn't used Web 2.0 in a presentation. You know, it's only forbidden now, only if you refer to 2005. And in fact, at that time, what happened is that it became much easier to launch a web platform application, and not just a website, but really turn it into something applicative. What's happening now is basically we have the same opportunities of being right at the moment where opportunities are there to become the next leader and join the movement, and hardware barriers are really falling, and that's the presentation I'm going to continue here. Some of the key factors of why it's good right now and why it's possible right now to become a hardware entrepreneur. First thing is prototyping. Some of the names I'm sure you're aware of. I won't do a big listing, but with Arduino, with Raspberry Pi, Intel Edison, TI Launchpad, Spark, Photon, whatever, we have so many solutions to just buy something that is between 30 euros or even 50 or even 10 euros with some Spark solution, and we can start building some IoT stuff. And you don't need to be an electronic engineer to start this, just to need some knowledge on software development. If you want something even accessible, even for non-tech people, well, you can play with new solutions like little bits. Even my daughter, in a few years from now, will be able to play with it. It's like connected Lego, and you can start understand what it's like to create new connected things and solutions. And Sam Labs was on Kickstarter, and they will deliver soon. And of course, prototyping is all about 3D printing. Without 3D printing, we couldn't do prototypes as we do it now. So all these elements make prototyping easier. Second barrier is we have now very interesting places to prototype. So if you want to start, you have Fab Labs or Hackerspace popping all around the world. You can find some websites where basically they reference every Fab Lab or Hackerspace. It's really the place to go. You have machines, you have mentors, you can start there. If you want to go one step further, you go to accelerators, who are really deep into hardware. Some of the name here, Highway 1, Hacks, which is one of my favorites, and Hardware.co in Berlin. The good thing for IoT is that it's now turning to people that were perhaps forgotten by the web industry, because we need new kind of knowledge. And these people are interested in joining startup, and they were kind of forgotten in the past, like engineers, not just developers, but like mechanical engineers, electronic engineers, any kind of engineers that were working in very boring big companies. Now they're targeted by startup. We need them to build new stuff. Second category is designers, like physical objects designers. When you launch an IoT thing, you need to make sure the design is not just beautiful, but usable. And it's not the same as doing a website. And last category, which is my favorite, it's like field specialists. Every IoT company will focus on one specific vertical. So we need people who have the knowledge, and they're available. They want to join startup. They're available to this kind of adventure. You want to be a health IoT device. If you're just a bunch of tech guys, it won't work. You need doctors. You want to do something in agriculture, you need people that know the stuff. So, and they are able to join. Second, I don't remember the count, but electronics components are right here. MEMS, that's a kind of term for sensors. They're now so cheap, you can integrate them in IoT, and that's a reason why it's becoming so interesting to launch IoT. Why are they so cheap? Because in every phone you have dozens of MEMS. So that's why an accelerometer gyroscope is so cheap to get for your new product. Second part is all the shops. You have everything you can buy online, go on Mother or our other shops like this, and everything is available. Just a few modules, you can start building the second stage of your prototype on your own PCB. And last thing is also, of course, you go to Shenzhen. That's the biggest electronic shop in the world, and you get everything you need there. Many connectivity solutions. Of course, when you want to build something in IoT, you need to make sure that you have a link to the internet. That's a core of SIGFOX I will explain, but I could spend a few hours on this, but you have many solutions. If you want to do local connectivity, you have BLE. BLE, like Bluetooth 4.0, and why it's now interesting, it's because it's very low energy. And you remember that time where you had to turn your Bluetooth off because it was basically sucking your whole battery? That time is over, basically, depending on which phone you have. But at least we can build solutions that rely on Bluetooth when you want local. And then when you want a gateway, it might be Wi-Fi when it's home, or other kind of gateways for the B2B and the industry. Or you want a wide area network, meaning you want to make sure you have a device, it's connected to the internet, no matter what. And until now, it was GSM. And the problem with GSM, it's like very energy consuming. You want to do something on GSM, it's basically lasting a few days. So you cannot invent a solution where you put something somewhere, and you will leave it there, and it will last for decades. And that's the reason why the founder of SIGFOX have invented the new solution we're having now. Just a recap on the solution. So we invented SIGFOXes. To give you some numbers, we're a French startup. We were founded in 2010. We raised 100 million Series C in February. We're covering all around, well, on our way to cover all around the world. Not yet in Bulgaria. I'm here to have some connections with partners. In every country we do, we have a local partner. But the main important thing for entrepreneurs is that we're enabling a new kind of connectivity, very, very energy efficient, 1 to 100 in comparison to GSM, and very economical. So we're building this wireless technology. I said about it, focusing on small messages. Small messages, 12 bytes. We built a system. We're spending millions of euros to build something that will allow you to just send messages with 12 bytes data. People who are not in IoT will think we're crazy, and it won't be much because we're all thinking about high bandwidth, 4G, 5G, all this stuff. But for a lot of objects, the only thing you need to send is like just the GPS position. Just 1 bit to say, I'm a device, I'm okay. Like smoke detector. You want to connect your smoke detector because you want to make sure that it's live and that it's not at some point running out of battery. So you need to connect that, and you won't put Wi-Fi, you won't put Bluetooth. You want to connect sensors in the field. You want to connect parking sensors to know if there's a car or a bus. And this kind of solution needs 5 years battery. So that's why it's been invented. And we roll out around the world. So that was just about the SIGFOX explanation. Next barrier, manufacturing. Once you have your prototype, well, you want to go and have your full supply. So now you have solutions. Either you work with companies that help startups, who have also accelerators like Flextronics, Lab9, PCH, that's the one that do have Highway 1, or even Eolan, so Local Solutions, that's a French company, to make sure for some specific objects they can do the manufacturing, not just in China, but also in France. Money, not so much an issue. I was an entrepreneur before. I failed raising, so I know what it is to have this as an issue. But still, for the hardware entrepreneurs, you go to, of course, the big crowdfunding platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So that's a possibility to get some funding. But also VCs are turning to hardware and to IoT. Just a graph for the past 4 years until 2014 about the rounds in IoT. So money is available. There's a market over there. Sometimes very forgotten barrier, distribution channels. Let's say 10 years ago, you wanted to create a new hardware. How can you sell it? Like all your competitors will be Philips, Sony, all the big giants that have strong partnerships with retailers and all this stuff, so you have no possibilities. Now, basically, you can put anything on Amazon. They want to have small companies who will have very inventive solutions. Or also, and perhaps more surprising, like big retailers, like Best Buy in the US, Fnac in some European countries, or even Apple. They can reference your solution to get access to the market. You go to for example, you go to Apple Store, you will find WeThings devices, which is basically a French startup. You will find Fitbit. Of course, now they're big, but still they were able to get access to these retails in the beginning. So it's very important for the IoT. And last but not least, it's everything about data. So why are we interested in IoT now? It's because we have all the technology to make sure that software is linked to the hardware, and we can analyze and do some stuff about the data. Because in the end, hardware is hard, and it's even harder because when you do hardware, especially in IoT, it's just a first step. The business will come from the data you manage and how you turn that data into a service. Just to recap on the key factors that I mentioned, it will be on SlideShare, as always, for no reference this. Keep in mind that what I just said, hardware is hard, despite what I've just said. A lot of entrepreneurs will fail. Just if you look at, I don't know how many of you have backed a project on Kickstarter, and all of them are late. All. And some of them are just not working at all because they get some traction, they get some buzz, and people think it would be possible, but the entrepreneurs, they didn't really do anything before starting the Kickstarter. So after they got the funding, well, a lot of projects will fail. And it's just one example of a failure for hardware entrepreneurs. Give you some advice on some question for IoT entrepreneurs or more generally hardware entrepreneurs. What would be the use case? Think not just about the device, which is all about your attention, but where will it be? How will it be used? Is it like, does it make sense to be connected to a phone? Like, we have a wonderful company called Parrot. Again, it's a French company. They do a sensor for your plants at home. The thing is, it's Bluetooth connected. Do I really want to connect to this sensor with my phone? I only want to have some notification when it needs to get some water. Plug the battery. Again, you know, all these trackers in the beginning that were lasting a week, if not less. Do I really want to care plugging it every week, especially if it's my children or for my pet? Like pet tracker, you need to make sure it will last for a year. Amount of data that will be sent. Again, a lot of people will think, yeah, I want to send everything, like 1 megabyte every minute. But in this world, you cannot have everything. You cannot have high bandwidth, long battery life, small form factor. I mean, you need to do some arbitrage. Number of devices to be connected. Don't forget, you cannot have 20 devices connected to one phone. That's a limitation of Bluetooth. So
bill of materials, size of modules and antennas, especially if you do wide area networks, GSM and SIGFOX. We need, it depends on the frequency you use. I won't go into details, but basically we need an antenna, so it has an impact. And of course, ease of integration. I can only invite you to join platforms and ecosystem who can help entrepreneurs and not just kind of an exotic system. Perhaps the last advice, and if you need to keep one thing in mind, look at B2B opportunities. Because of Kickstarter and Indiegogo, who are focusing on B2C, a lot of people forget about the real impact you can have with B2B. And B2B, as always, if you get your first client, that's the way you can finance and bootstrap at first. One example of a startup that I really love to give you the impact as well on SIGFOX is Winat. They do sensors in the field for farmers and agriculture. So pure B2B, they put that on the ground, and it helps the farmer to spend less water and also less chemicals for what they're doing. I think I'm running out of time, so it's perfect. I give you one read if you're really interested in hardware. Again, by Hacks, Benjamin Joff, the one running this beautiful and awesome accelerator in Shenzhen, and that's the Bible for hardware entrepreneurs, almost 200 slides. So if you want to read further, check this. And if I can help, that's my contact details. Thank you.